Welcome to episode 4 of the Market Thieves Podcast. Today I have Finno and T, and we are going to explain getting into the crypto space, more specifically investing.
So, we've come down the road of understanding how the blockchain works, what's the history behind it, how it got started, and, as Finno said, now we're sort of jumping into the piece of getting involved in the space as far as like investments are concerned. So you can think of all that he mentioned sort of like the way that you have trading platforms in the traditional space. A cryptocurrency exchange is a platform that allows users to trade, buy, sell, or exchange cryptocurrencies or digital currencies for other cryptocurrencies or fiat money. Some of the exchanges will allow you to withdraw the coin and put them into wallets so they are more secure, and we'll get into that later. Other exchanges maybe only require you to convert coin back to fiat before withdrawing. And then as you get into this space, you'll see that it's more encouraged as far as fees and things are concerned to convert crypto to crypto, which is something that you can also do on these different platforms. Different platforms will be available in different regions of the world. You also have platforms that might be a US-based platform that also offers a branch of it or an app that is usable in other areas, and then vice versa. You might have apps that are based in Europe but will also offer, say, a United States or Canadian version. Most of these exchanges will be mobile, web-based as well. So you could easily, you have these platforms on your phone. Most of them will offer an app, but there also are exchanges that are basically browser-based exchanges as well. So there's a whole world of choices that you can choose from. And as we get into this, I would just say that it's not necessary to only stick to one exchange, because we'll also talk about how different exchanges offer different coins on them. So the exchange that you may use as your main driver might not offer a coin that you are looking for. So you might have to set up a second exchange that basically allows that coin to be traded on their platform.
Right. So T just said here, how there's coin exchanges and everything like that. I'm going to start with what pretty much everyone's probably going to get off the ground running with, and that's a custodial exchange. And the main thing with a custodial exchange is it's pretty much, it's going to seem the most legitimate for someone that's new to this. They're going to you're going to have an account registration, you're going to do an identity verification process. They'll see where you're living. This is where you're going to do some bank information, whether it's a debit card or banking information, where you exchange your fiat into crypto. And, the benefit with a custodial exchange is here you can deposit and withdraw your fiat. If you want to get out of, say, Bitcoin, you could sell it back to the exchange and you get the fiat in return for it. You usually could do higher trade volume, higher limits on how much you could spend, whether it's daily or weekly. It varies exchange to exchange. And, it allows transactions to be quicker, cheaper, but with all of this said, you do put sensitive information. There is a little bit of a lack of transparency. It could take, if you put your trade down, say, day one, it could take 3 to 5 days for it to be executed. So this is where some people have an issue with it, but the argument against it is when you're starting, this is probably the way that most people are going to go. This is the way I started. I, for instance, have a Coinbase account. I still use it. It does offer the widest variety of Bitcoin, altcoins, and limits as well. And, this is all done off of the blockchain. This is done through, you have a third party controlling the buy and selling.
Right. And also, when you get into the space and say, for example, you do go to one of these exchanges, the reason why, say, for example, like a Coinbase may not offer almost every single coin that's out there is because they're also protecting themselves as well as people like you or I who are investing in this space. So they're not necessarily going to have every single coin available to trade only because they may not know or have enough proof of information about it, as well as just a general history of the coin itself. And you'll run into this a lot. So if you're on an exchange and they're saying that they would like to bring a list of coins to the exchange, I know in the United States here, particularly since it's a little bit more regulated than the rest of the world, there's a few more things that the coin itself has to sort of go through before it's available on these platforms. So you might be scratching your head and asking yourself, well, why is Tron available for purchase, in different parts of the world, but not particularly the US, unless there's different routes that you want to take, which is something that we could get into later on in the cast. But generally, it's not going to be available, just so they're protecting themselves and they're protecting us. But the good thing is that most of these platforms are continuously working to add coins that people are interested in onto their platform. I know that recently Dogecoin blew up, so you see a lot of exchanges offering Doge, etc. We also have things like Cosmos and Ren that's available on platforms that people were looking at that were excited to trade, and now that's generally able to trade on most of these platforms now.
All right, and then for the second type of exchange that we find, it would be a non-custodial. So custodial would be you have the third party would be the ones in possession, quote unquote, of your crypto. You don't necessarily have complete control of it. And what you'll learn through this episode is if you do not control your private keys, you do not control your crypto. And that's, I didn't really understand this in the beginning of when I was putting money in, and a few months down the road, I learned what this was, and now I have full control of what I'm doing. So a non-custodial exchange, this is going to be something, I'll give you a couple examples. SwitchChain, Shapeshift, Evercoin, Changely. These are just a few examples. On these non-custodial exchanges, there's no account registration. You're not giving out sensitive information. So there's a higher degree of anonymity. I don't know how you say that.
What?
Anonymity, like being anonymous. Anonymity. Anonymy. I don't know.
Or staying anonymous.
Staying anonymous, and there's a higher degree of being anonymous, and there's more security that comes with that. So this is still something I believe is non-custodial is not on the blockchain. It doesn't have to get verified. That's right. Only when we're talking. Okay. So this is, so you're not dealing with fiat in this sense. So this would be you already have coins. And
coin for coin.
Coin for coin here. The trade's made almost instantly on your behalf. It takes a short period of time, and the crypto is deposited back into your possession. So you had a bunch of Doge coins, and you're like, I'm over it. Let's go get some Bitcoin. This is something that you would use this for. It's low cost trading combined with privacy and convenience. And this is probably this is a step up from the custodial. And we'd call it novice at this point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then that's also to go back on, Doge for Bitcoin or Ethereum for Bitcoin. That is totally possible if that's a question that you have. And that's what we mean by coin for coin. And it's really considered the thing to do, especially when you're dealing with these platforms. Most of them will inquire fees, and they're not huge fees unless you are trading at huge volumes and you're taking a look at multiple exchanges, as we stated before, that you might have, and you go with the one that's offering the lowest rates. But when you're trading coin for coin, usually those fees are either zeroed out or very, very low compared to taking fiat dollar and buying Bitcoin, or taking fiat dollar and buying Ethereum, or whatever it is that you want to get into. So always consider that.
So the crypto wallet, is used to interact with blockchain network. And these are, when we're breaking it down, there's going to be three major types of these wallets. It's a hardware wallet, a software wallet, and a paper wallet. Software wallet is going to be more accessible. It's more convenient. It's software that's going to be installed on your smartphone or your computer. It provides users with access to your private keys, therefore giving you control over your crypto and making it easier to move it around if you want to do that, trade it, all that fun stuff. That's going to be on the lower end. If you wanted to go a little bit more secure, you're going to have something called a hardware wallet. This is going to be, let's just say, like a USB drive. It's going to be something that you're going to have to, using your software wallet, you connect to your phone or your computer. It's completely offline and it's the most secure, and that's because when you do take it offline, it is unaccessible.
And that also adds to security as well. So the more unaccessible it is, the more offline it is, the more secure your investments are. So really what makes things different for a hardware wallet versus a hot wallet is that it's not necessarily connected to the internet unless you are transferring coins off and on the actual USB drive, as Fino said, that you would connect to your phone or your computer. So this definitely gives you a shield of security from hackers if that was the case, and it's not connected to the internet, so it's something that you could put your coins on and then put inside of a safe place physically at home versus the wallets that might be on your computer, always connected to the internet, unless it's like a desktop wallet. So if you are on your computer and you have the wherewithal, you could also download a desktop wallet, which is also totally off the internet. But then there's also browser wallets, which would be connected to the internet. There's wallets that are connected to your app. Most apps will provide a different app that will be the wallet for that app. So say, for example, if you have eToro, and you have the eToro wallet app, which is separate from the actual trading platform. Coinbase also offers the same thing. So it's really a level of security. And then also the thing to think about when you're getting into this is how much do you want to be moving your coin around? So that was one of the things that definitely came up, and it's sort of self-explanatory, but if you are the type to, for whatever reason, buy coin on a Monday and want to get it sold by Friday because it did well, you're not necessarily taking that coin and putting it on a USB and putting it somewhere inside of your house, because you also have to think about the transfer times. So there's a time limit that may be short or long to transfer these coins off the app and onto the hardware wallet, and then vice versa. So if it's popping off and something's doing great, then you could easily take that and put it into the wallet and put it in a safe place. But say, for example, one of the coins just falls off a cliff and it's sitting on your wallet, there's going to be the time that you executed it, but it's going to take a little while to get back onto that platform. It's not instant by any means.
That being said, there's a couple factors to consider: what type of wallet, or what's going to make you go one way or another. So going off of what T was just saying, just basic factors there is going to be security. And I think when it comes to security, then you're going to talk about the device and the software that's used to store it. And that could even be how easy is it to access your, even your computer or through your phone. And then, like T was saying, how do you want to move it? How frequently? Your trading frequency. If you're just buying and stacking sats and Bitcoin, like maybe once you get, let's just say $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, then you move it off and you're not going to touch that Bitcoin. You're just going to let it sit there, as opposed to like if you're doing something daily and you're moving stuff around, you're not going to want it on that hardware wallet. You're going to want it on the phone, and more of a hot wallet that's connected online, so you could have access to doing those trades day in and day out. And then, a lot of people now, it's the tax tracking capabilities, like how can I move stuff around, pay the less amount of taxes. People might even want to be hiding it. And So those are main factors for me personally. I think it's going to be the software and the device storage and the trading frequency. If I'm moving, certain coins around, or I'm buying and waiting till I hit my quota of a certain amount of coins, or it's a coin that I'm just going to hold on for a little bit, and then in a while I'm going to move it or convert it or something. I'm going to keep that on something that it's easier to access, instead of, you don't want to have to plug in and take your hard wallet and plug it in and move it around and store it again, and do all of that fun stuff. So,
and there's different levels of security too when it comes to the wallets, and we'll get more in depth with this piece later. But when he speaks on security, there's also passwords that are involved in this too. So not only are you being responsible on where you are actually placing your hardware wallet, if that's something that you want to do, you're definitely going to want to have a safe place for your passwords to access the hardware wallets, because there's a wall of security there to even utilize what's on the wallet itself. So this is where we hear the horror stories of people having tons and tons of Bitcoin back in the day on a certain laptop and throwing it away, or forgetting their credentials and having only 5 times to get it right and being on the third. And it's just like, damn, if I, screw this up twice more, then that's it. This is where you have to really be, do your due diligence and understand that your investments are truly, in fact, your responsibility. It's not like the traditional market where if I forget my, password to my trading password, or my trading platform, then I can just give Fidelity a call, and then they'll, take me through the steps of security, whether it be questions or emails and things like that. With this, there is no one to call. So, we'll get in more into depth with that later, but these are also the responsibilities you're going to have when you are going with particular wallets. Most of the wallet app provides the same things, the same levels of security. So just make sure you're doing your due diligence on both ends with passwords and where you are placing these things, because they are your investments. Another fun fact that, I researched when I was, taking a skim over things, was that wallets don't actually store your crypto. They're just a tool required to react and interact with the blockchain. So wallets will provide necessary information to send and receive crypto via the blockchain and interaction. So in layman's terms, basically your keys will be a particular spot on the blockchain. And then in turn, your wallet is an identifier for that specific location on the blockchain. And that particular crypto that you're storing is built on. Its specific location is where your coins are sent, and then this is how the alphanumeric location, or your code, your particular code, is received. So you have public keys and private keys, and we can get into that too. But I think on a very basic level of understandings, if we could go ahead and transfer this to what people are already doing. When you have a bank account, for example, you could look at the routing number and the accounting number as your public key. So this is information that you can give businesses. Like when you start a new job and they do direct deposit, what do? You give them your routing number and your account number so they can pay you. And if you are having like a reoccurring payment for a bill, you give your routing number, your account number, so they can automatically withdraw funds out of your account. So you could look at this as the public key. This is information that is safe to give to trusted people. So public keys will be sort of encrypted with the QR codes that people say, oh, we take this particular coin donation. It's public. It's for everyone to send to the receiver. In the same comparison, private keys would be sort of like your password to your actual bank account. So if you get hired on a job, no, you're not going to give your actual password to your bank account to the person that is asking for it. It's going to be your routing number and your accounting number as public, and then your password is sort of your private. So with that same energy, when it comes to crypto wallets and investing in crypto, never give your private key away. That's the actual credentials to access your funds. If you want to take donations in some capacity, if you own a business or you're raising funds for a foundation, etc., then the public key is what you are giving out. So that's sort of background and explaining on that as well.
Yeah, the public keys out. Yeah, like your routing number, and even easier. If when you scan someone's QR code for their Venmo,
Right.
you're exchanging the fiat, but this could be you could scan your own public key just to send it from one wallet to another or a friend or something like that. It's super easy, and yeah, that's the information if anything, you hand out. Yeah, the private keys always, you want them generated offline, and you store them securely, and you keep them as close to you as you can, and you don't share those with anybody. All right, so now that we talked about that, we'll just briefly talk about how on different exchanges, like let's just say, make it easy, Bitcoin's at $55,000 on Coinbase, and then someone might be on Gemini, and the price might be $55,000, $55,100. Why? The question is, how come it's across the board? It's not all the same at the same exact time. Well, for what I've gathered and everything like that, there's certain exchanges that are bigger, there's certain exchanges that are smaller, and that could be where certain countries limits everything that's put on it, but it has to do primarily with the trade volume, and we'll just keep using Bitcoin in this instance. So because Bitcoin, it has to do with the trade volume, so that's buy amounts and sell amounts. The buy amount pretty much is the amount people are willing to pay for the given asset. The sell amount is what people are willing to sell their assets at. And then there's a book that these go through. So there's the way it works is, say when you're buying, you're gonna submit a buy. You're gonna put that order is gonna be placed in the order book. Whatever the highest price someone is willing to buy that asset for, that quote unquote becomes the market price. And the cost can fluctuate depending on the volume for that. We're using Bitcoin here. So if there's a you're gonna find smaller differences between the price with larger cap coins. So that's why we're using Bitcoin. You're gonna find smaller differences, but once you start getting into, we could even say Dogecoin, something that's a lot smaller market cap, because a lot of these have a smaller market caps, then you're going to start to find bigger differences because their trade volumes are less.
Right, and that's essentially what Fenno just explained is like makers and takers. So the maker is the person that's on the books. So in layman's terms, they're advertising the coin for a certain price, putting it on a shelf. The taker comes inside of the store, looks at the shelf, likes the price that it's seen at, and buys the coin. So this sort of keeps the market liquid is what we're saying here. The volume of people that might be on the platform moving these coins back and forth, buying and selling, is going to affect the price. So when you look at certain exchanges, as he said, they might have slightly varying prices because every exchange is going to have their own prices on the books as well.
Yeah, and you have to think too, if there's an exchange that has a smaller token and there's a guy today that's seen that he wants to sell it and he's going to get rid of it, that's going to affect the price. If he sells everything on that exchange, that's going to make that asset go down in price. And so this is the liquidity that T just explained here. This is why you see differences. There's some, people will use like triangular arbitrage, and they'll move it around they'll buy on one exchange, then transfer it, sell it on another exchange because it's selling for higher, and then they'll buy again on another exchange because there's a discounted price on another one. And we're talking about getting into it here, and that's a lot further along down the line, but that's just a brief example on why you would find, say you have the Cash App and you have Coinbase as well, why there's going to be a difference in pricing on what you're buying.
So also with these exchanges, you'll have rewards. So the same way in the traditional market, they offer dividends to people who have been holding that particular asset for a long time. Those are usually paid out quarterly in the traditional market, the longer you've been holding it, as well as the volume that you are holding makes a huge difference on the percentage that you are paid out. So with coin, you could easily take that definition and, in layman's terms, compare it to staking. So when you are on a lot of these platforms, they're going to be having little advertisements and things like that where they'll ask you, like, if you want to learn about staking such and such token. So if we were staking a Market Thieves token, Essentially, it's going to be a reward system. The only thing that's different is when you are looking at your coins and where to put them, as we discussed earlier. Most of the time, you're going to want to put them away in a hardware wallet if you're holding them for a long time. A lot of these platforms will offer you to stake the coin. And to my understanding, you're going to want to keep that coin on that platform, so keep it hot. Now, just sort of generally, the security on most of these platforms are as good as they can be at this point in time. So when we speak of preferring to put it on a hardware wallet, we're not saying that keeping them hot is a bad idea all across the board. I would say general rule of thumb is you don't want to keep a lot of assets on there, just based off of the fact that if, say, Coinbase had some sort of breach in security, your coins are like on Coinbase on the platform. It's not necessarily like in your hands. But when it comes to staking, these blockchains will provide a reward for you to keep your coins hot on the hot wallets, which would basically be your Coinbase account. This basically allows less resources. It's basically a alternative to traditional mining, and we could get down to advanced concepts later on, but it's basically holding the cryptocurrency in the wallet to support and hold security operations of the blockchain that it's currently built on. So in layman's terms, holding the crypto allows you to receive rewards. So yes, this usually means holding the coin on the exchange instead of inside of a hardware wallet. Some of the requirements for earning some good rewards when it comes to staking is how many coins the user is staking. So it's the same thing as a dividend for Apple. Of course, somebody who's been holding giant amounts of Apple since '99 is going to get paid a higher dividend than someone who got in last month. But I know with the traditional market, it usually takes like 2 days to start earning dividends. But of course, that percentage is very, very small. And like we said, the payouts are quarterly. So with crypto, when you're staking, it's the same thing. It's how many coins are you staking. So you have 14 coins on Market Thieves coin, and you're staking those 14 coins. It's going to look very different from someone who has 141 coins. Also, what you would want to consider when you are getting into staking, it's like, what is the longevity of this particular project, this particular coin? And if it's something that looks like it has a bright future and can go a long way, where you could just have these coins sitting and gaining percentages and sort of going along in the journey with them, then it's definitely usually a green light after that point in time.
All right. So after all that's been said, explaining exchanges, explaining wallets, what they do, the purpose, there's a responsibility. It's a little different than when you're doing traditional banking and you're putting your money in your savings account. But it has the similarities. I mean, people, it all comes down to the main thing is when you get to a point that you're comfortable at, if you don't control your private keys, you don't control your crypto. And this is what you're doing. If this is a long-term goal, a short-term goal, regardless, if you hit whatever mark you want to hit, you want to have control of your crypto. And certain exchanges and everything, it's all different, but it's all pretty easy how to gather all of this stuff and put it into your wallets, whether it's an online wallet or it's offline. So, when we were talking about factors in wallets earlier, we were talking about the trading frequency. That's, this is what you want to think of when you're trading or buying crypto. It's best only to store the crypto on exchanges or software wallets temporarily while you're in use. And then you have your long-term crypto holdings should be stored in a dedicated hardware wallet. And that this has to do with, like what T said before, when you're on a bigger exchange, it could be susceptible to a hack. It could be SEC regulations, and it could get shut down. That's happened before. The hacks have happened. And this is when, the stuff that you're not trying to long-term hold, that's what you're going to keep on there until maybe, say you have 100 Ethereum, you finally you hit 100, and maybe that's what you're saying. But, long before that, let's say you want to get that off there onto a hardware wallet. These are the things you got to think of. And these wallets, even a hardware wallet, a USB drive. You have your own wallet that you carry around daily. There's always that personal responsibility of, like, do you have a money clip in your wallet? Is the money secure in there? You don't want it loose and falling out when you're pulling it in and out of your pocket. These are, the same things that you could just transfer over your thoughts to the technological aspects of this. When you're plugging your computer or your hardware wallet into your desktop, and are you on a secure internet connection? These are the things that you need to think about, that it's not that much different than when you're going to the ATM and getting your money, putting it in your wallet, and then I don't know what you do with your money, if you put it under your mattress or stuff like that. And
cold and hot storage exists in banks too. It's like, a bank could shut down. What are the policies if a bank gets shut down? And then you also have cold storage. Are you the type to put it inside of a savings account? Or are you the type to you feel a little bit more at ease when the money's physically somewhere inside of your house, whether it be in a safe or stuffed inside of a couch? So it's the same sort of steps that you have to take with crypto, and we cannot stress enough, there's no number to call. With traditional fiat, you could freeze a card, you can have a new card ordered, no big deal. You can have people stop placing transactions on your account by barring that one particular company. You can call someone and they'll take you through the steps of getting access to your mobile account or your online.
Thank you for listening to another podcast. Remember to go follow us on social, Twitter and Instagram at Market_Thieves. Have a good day.